Hey guys, so you're going to notice in this episode we had a little bit of a sound issue with Gabriel when he speaks at about the 17 to 18-minute mark. It's slightly annoying. It's a buzz in the background. We just couldn't get rid of it. So it doesn't last when it hits. It lasts for about 20 seconds or so, 30 seconds, goes away, and then comes back for another 15 or 20, and then seems to go away for the rest of the episode. So just so you guys know, that will not last. But enjoy the episode. Welcome to AFL Uncensored. I'm your host, Teej Johannesson, and of course, with me, as always, is my co-host, Omari Fraser. Omari, I just got back from Bucks Indoor Workout number 2. We've got a place here in Red Deer that's fairly new, a couple years old, called the Dome. So it's this beautiful little indoor turf facility with a bunch of different fields, and it's actually really amazing. And Red Deer didn't have anything like that for a long time, so we're lucky. We were like in these crappy little soccer pitches before we're doing winter workouts, so it was nice. And we had really good numbers today, which was good to see. And we were even missing a lot of key guys. And I feel really excited moving in, especially just being February and seeing all the guys and seeing the talent we have. And there's some new guys that really kind of stuck out and have really made me kind of turn my head today. And there's going to be some good physical players and some new dimension to the Bucks. So I'm really excited about that.
That's huge. That's awesome to hear. And I have heard good things with that dome in Red Deer. So that's huge to see.
It's a game changer, and they do a lot of programs out of there and stuff like that. And it's a really cool thing that, honestly, I wish I would have thought of it, because it's just a money making machine now. Like, whoever actually started that was a genius. So a little bit of breaking news. Again, this is kind of like things are happening in the AFL right now. We had Omari, or we had Tyler and Vardo on the other day because of the switch from the Pack to the Irish. And then today, really great news for Ray Sean, the quarterback of the Jets national championship winning team last year, got signed by a European League Football, or ELF, as it's otherwise known, team in Zurich, Switzerland, called the Zurich Renegades. And I believe it's a new league. I started looking it up today. I'd actually never heard of it, but I guess it is a fairly new league, and like, it's really legit. And I think that's really, really cool. I mean, Switzerland is a place, like an absolutely beautiful place. I've never been there, but like, you look at these pictures, and like, that would be a place that, my wife's a teacher, and we're always kind of like on the side looking to see like for overseas opportunities for teaching, and like also for me possibly playing football. And now, that's pretty cool that there is. Had you ever heard of that? The European League Football, or ELF? Had you heard of that before?
No, I have. That's the first time I've heard of it. And big congrats to Rashawn with that signing. And it's awesome to see guys take their talents to new levels and next levels. And when it comes to the European side of football, like, it's always been on my mind of I want to look at and see. And actually, what's kind of unique is I actually have, like, I'm actually born in England. I actually have a British passport, so I have a dual passport where I can go over. And I've always wondered where, since I have my British passport, would I qualify as an import? So that's always been something that I've always pondered about and wondered, but I haven't fully dove into. But it is something too where I always look at those European opportunities, like, do I make the move? Do I not? Or it's always interesting.
Yeah, I don't know the details. We will 100% have Rayshawn onto the podcast to talk all about that, because I'm sure a lot of people are interested in his process and how he got there and the connections, and how is he getting out there? Are they paying for him to get out there? Are they paying him to play? I believe that they actually are. And I think a lot of guys are interested in that. I think that's a really cool thing with the Alberta Football League and what we're doing. And I know I was speaking to Rayshawn today, and he said how thankful he was for the Alberta Football League and Cold Lake specifically, and giving them that opportunity. And that's the kind of stuff that's just great about this league. And now we get to see him, representing our league out in Switzerland. And think about this for young guys, especially. Like, I'm an older guy now, but I would still definitely possibly look into it one day, like I just said. But like, for those younger guys, like, what an experience, right? Get some film in the AFL, and then maybe have an opportunity to go and play football in an amazing country. Like like
Oh
Switzerland or
yeah,
Germany, or like these, it'd be unbelievable, that experience. So
absolutely.
congratulations, Rayshawn. I know playing against you was annoying as hell because you do things that are absolutely crazy. There was a one play
Yeah.
in the Wolfpack game that he like did some weird, I can't even remember what it was. It was like a underhand weird pass where he should have been sacked. It was very Patrick Mahomes-esque. I'm not sure if you remember that, Omari, but it was nuts. And I'm glad I'm not going to have to play with him. Obviously, that's a big loss for Cold Lake. And it just so happens, and we did not make this up, this just fall into line because the podcast AFL gods are on our side, Omari, because we're doing good things for people. We are interviewing the Jets group today, the day that this got announced. And this podcast was already planned. So thank you to the podcast god and everyone who listens to our podcast, because now we get to talk about it. So with us today is a AFL veteran, might be an understatement, but Glenn Dembicki is joining us. Glenn, how you doing?
I'm doing well, thanks.
Good. We've got a Cold Lake member, Gabriel. Gabe, how you doing?
I'm doing amazingly great. Thanks for asking.
Perfect. And we've got Cole, Mr. calling me a pussy for Duck and Teague Sherman here, ready to go. Cole, how you doing?
I'm not too bad. I'm good today. Thank
Good,
you.
man. And we've got Teague rejoining us. Teague, man, how you doing?
I'm good, man. Like I said, just happy to be here.
Good. So we're going to talk a little bit, some questions individually for these guys, and we're going to talk about the Jets as well. So this should be a really fun episode. So quickly, Teague, we've heard from you, your story, but quickly, Cliff Notes version, your kind of football story, what led you to the AFL. And Glenn, we'll start with you.
Sounds good. So I guess my pedigree is not quite as long as most of the guys that you're going to have on the podcast here. I played some high school football out in North Battleford, Saskatchewan, my grade 12 year. I actually grew up in Kitscotty, the little town you drive through before you get to Lloyd here. Many of you have passed it on the way here, but it had no high football program or nothing. So it wasn't until my grade 12 year that I did play some high school football in North Battleford. And one of the things I always it was kind of cool. I don't know if you all remember the name Ruben Mays, played in the NFL. He was from North Battleford, and I joined that team, the same team. I think it was 1 or 2 years after he had graduated and went off to Washington State University and rushed for 300 or 400 yards a game and ended up being drafted. And I think he was Rookie of the Year his first year, but right out of small town Saskatchewan. So that's where I went to. I played 1 year there, and then it was nothing for me. I was 35 years old before I had heard about the AFL, and Lloyd was getting a team. Driving home from work one night, heard them talking about it on the radio of Lloyd was possibly looking to get a team into some football league, and 15 years of flag football after high school, I guess, wasn't enough. So I thought I'd check in, and sure enough, it was legit. It was a team, and they were trying to get into the AFL. That same year that we joined, Medicine Hat and Grand Prairie also joined the league. So it put us at 10 teams, I think, and that's the most there's ever been in the AFL was that 2004 season.
And Glenn, when did you start running the Lloydminster Vandals? So for those that don't know, the Lloydminster Vandals were a powerhouse team for a number of years in Glenn's early years, so and including a national championship victory. When did you start running the team?
Well, I was on board right from the start. I wasn't one of there was 3 or 4 guys actually. AFL Hall of Famer Jeremy Tomlinson was our founder.
Mm-hmm.
He grew up in Lloyd, played football here at high school at the Comp, and then he went to the Okanagan Sun after high school and played a few years there. And I think it was actually kind of funny, just hit me now, but Bailey from out in Red Deer played for you guys back in the Dave Haney years. It would have been before your time. Rod Bailey, maybe, or I can't remember his first name, but he was a lineman for the Bucks, and he was from Lloyd as well. And he had, Jeremy kept in touch with him, and he said, "Hey, there's this freaking football league. You guys should get a team in here." And the same old questions you'll hear everybody say, "What the hell are you talking about? I've never heard of this league." So Jeremy got into got the team going, and I was there from the start, but I wasn't, involved in organizing or running anything. Ended up the first practice, it was like 20 guys, and they're like, okay, is anybody a quarterback? And I went and stuck my hand up, and then I look around and there was no other hands going up. I'm like, okay, this is cool. I'm 35 years old here.
35-year-old rookie. Yeah.
Yeah. So, and it just kind of went from there. I think they sheltered me a little bit away from doing much else because, I obviously had a lot on my plate. I wasn't a quarterback in high school. I was a receiver, so I'd never taken a snap. I'd never called out a cadence. It was the weirdest thing ever to me. I felt like such a loser. Blue 32, blue 32.
Yeah. Little imposter syndrome there. Yeah, for sure.
Like 50 times a practice indoors. It's like, this is good. Can't we do something? Just say snap it.
Yeah.
So, they sheltered me, and I found out a little later on that year that I was the kind of inner core of the group. I was voted amongst them as the least likely guy to make it through the first game.
Okay.
And, now we're sitting here, 160 games straight. I haven't missed one since 2004, aside from a couple games that I was forced to miss. So, it's kind of interesting. I wasn't really involved till, I guess, 2006. Yeah. Jeremy moved off to Australia, and he kind of mentored me a little bit for the 1 year to take over. And then I just jumped into it. And
then you had a lot of success there. You had some amazing players come through that program. I mean, the Valou brothers. Sorry if I'm mispronouncing that, but Jared and what was the brother's name? The slotback?
Jeff.
Yeah. And I remember my first couple years in the league, seeing those guys, I was like, wow, this is that. At that time, the AFL wasn't as full of the talent as it is now, but those guys were peak. They were very, very good. And then I know you guys, I think it was, you beat the Toronto Titans, right, for a national championship in 2012?
In 2012, yeah. We actually, in our first AFL title was in 2008, the same year that the Veloz and the Wainwright team, they had folded, so they merged with us in 2008.
Yeah.
And right away, the team, it just took us to that next level. We had a really good defense in secondary here in Lloyd, and then the Wainwright team was pretty, a good offensive team. So it just worked out perfect. And 2008, we played the AFL championship in Calgary, lost to the Wolfpack. We ended up beating the Gators in 2010 and played in the first national championship at the ME Global Field there in.
Yeah, that's an interesting story. That was right. That was my rookie year, 2010. And for some reason, I remember I worked that game. I was like volunteering at the game because for some reason the game had to be hosted in Lacombe instead of Lloyd. And I remember it was the Sioux Steelers came down, and they had that running back who was just unbelievable. I think he was an NFL guy. And
Jeff Williams.
He was like an NFL guy, and he was crazy. He rushed for like 400 yards. But that was I remember there was like 2,000 people there for it was in Lacombe for Lloyd Minter versus Sioux. That was a cool atmosphere.
Probably 500 came from Lloyd for the game as well, right?
For sure, yeah.
Began Wainwright. We had a pretty good following, local following back then. And up until then, the team was pretty much 100% local guys from, the Lloyd area and Wainwright area. So, we had a pretty nice fan base. And it was they didn't even have turf at that field yet. We played that game. It was just grass. With some skinny little spray painted lines on the field.
Yeah, no, the turf was still 2 years away. Yeah, the turf got put in 2012 in Lacombe. That's where the Bucks practice now. But we played a couple games there on that just shit awful grass field. Yeah, it was terrible. Awesome, Glenn. Thank you. And obviously you've been around, you're now with the Jets. Like you said, it's 160 something games like that straight, and you're still out here doing it. And we're going to talk to you a little bit later about what kind of keeps your itch going. But Cole, moving on to you, your story, your football, and kind of what brought you to the AFL.
This just like everybody else, I guess I got a long and weird football story. I guess it started 2005, I think. A guy moved to town from Winnipeg, and he happened to play football, and we became friends with him. And I guess I wanted to play football, and then 2 of us turned into 24 of us wanted to play, and our parents didn't want to drive into Winnipeg from Portage. So his parents started up a team, and the next year it had 2 teams. The next year it had 4 teams, and it just kind of snowballed from there. So that was Pee Wee, I believe I started. So then I played 4 years with them, with the Pit Bulls, and then moved on to high school, played 4 years there. Then I moved out to Kelowna and played for the Sun, played 4 years with them. We lost in the national final my last game in 2015 against the Hilltops, which they were a powerhouse for years. So that was kind of a tough one to take, but it was a good run. After that, I ended up out in PEI playing for the Holland College Hurricanes. It's like, I guess, like a junior college league out in the Maritimes, I would say. And played 1 year there, and then I played with the Island Mariners of the Maritime Football League, which is the equivalent to the Alberta League here. I played 1 year there, and then I got a message on Euro Players. So I was trying to go to Europe, obviously, like Ray just did. And I got a message from Will in Fort Mac, and he was asking me to come out, and that was in 2018, I believe, something like that. And I was going to go out there, and then I ended up hurting my knee. So took a few years off. And I think it was 2019 when Damon moved to Cold Lake here, I think. And that's when he started messaging me. And then didn't really end up coming out for whatever reason that year. And then the whole COVID thing slowed us down there. And then we stayed in touch. And then last year I ended up coming out for spring camp, and I just loved, as soon as I got out here, I loved the team, loved the town, and ended up sticking around. Haven't really gone home since.
All right, Gabe, tell us your football story. What's more about you to the AFL?
Okay. First off, thanks for having me. Appreciate that. Hope everybody's doing well. I guess my football story is a little different. Grew up around here, California. Didn't really play ball, I guess you could say, recreationally or anything like that. Mainly just played in the streets with my friends, kind of with the way I grew up. And then as I moved over into the apartment complex, I moved into around age 10. A lot of my friends, we were playing at the school across the street. They decided to have me play with them. And eventually then convinced my mom to have me sign up. And lo and behold, my career kind of began from there. I think, again, I was about 11 or 10 years old. And from then on, played high school ball, had fun with that. Played a numerous set of positions. Stopped playing, didn't play in college. I actually didn't start playing again after I graduated high school for about 3 years until maybe I was about like 19. And then I started playing in a semi-pro league down here for the Southern California Gladiators. Found I was actually still very, very extremely good at the sport. Was voted Rookie of the Year, led the league in turnovers, completion percentage as a corner, all that good stuff, voted to All-Stars. My second year around, played for the California Cowboys, was then signed to Team USA, played with them. We played Team Mexico out of Mexico for my first game. Let's see, where else did I play then after that? We played in Costa Rica against Team Costa Rica the following year after that, out in 2017. Beat them, and then we flew back to Mexico. Then we flew to Minnesota, played in that stadium where the Super Bowl was played that year. I believe the Eagles played the Patriots, and we played in that stadium the week before. I actually made one of the biggest plays of my career against this guy fresh out of college who ran a 4.3. see, where else have I played? Actually, even coming prior to, funny story coming out to the AFL with my different journey. After getting signed to play in Australia from Team USA in 2019, obviously COVID hit, kind of ruined some things. I was supposed to play out in South Korea for a season. That didn't wind up happening. I was actually in contact with Damon to come play in the AFL that season that you guys actually ended up winning the championship, Teej. I was actually looking to come play against you guys that first year. I'd followed you guys very much as far as how your offense was played a lot. Still kind of like I do now, the whole league as a whole. So I've actually been very familiar with the league for a cool minute. Unfortunately, there was just an issue with getting a vaccine, and I just couldn't do it at the time. So unfortunately, I wasn't able to come out for that season. I actually wound up going to play in Germany and led the league in return yardage, actually broke a record, made the newspaper a few times out there in Germany, led my team in tackles, won a few awards in a few different countries, including that one. And then to fast forward to this past season, found my way again to just keep in contact with Damon. We've had a great relationship since we first ever started talking. And yeah, started talking to Teague, let him know I was coming. I don't think he actually knew I was probably on my way out here until I actually pulled up freshly off my flight to practice. And then, 2 days later, I think we played the Wolfpack the first time. And yeah, the rest is kind of history. I enjoyed everybody I met. Kind of the same thing like Cole said, the city it's an amazing place. As Teague likes to joke around about, it's something in the water down there. I don't know. But it's an amazing place, truthfully. I enjoy everybody I've met down there. I've made a lot of good family down there, to the big reason why I've decided, despite many of the offers I did have to go continue to play overseas, to come back again and run back the championship season we had, since a lot of people think it was a fluke. That's kind of where I'm at right now. But yeah, it's exactly what drew me here. I love being in Cold Lake. It's a great place.
Yeah, that's awesome, man. I appreciate you diving into that, and that is quite an impressive resume. And I can attest to the fact that you are very good at this sport, and I'm glad you're continuing to play it. It was difficult. I ran a lot of routes in that playoff game against you and against Teague.
He picked the corner off me.
Yeah, so I appreciate your skill and how tough it is to get anything on you guys. And I'm glad you're back. I know we said this before, but I want the more talent in this league, the better. And I'm so excited to have what could potentially be the most competitive season the AFL's ever had. So I'm really looking forward to that. All right. So we've heard from Teague. We know his football story, but what I do want to ask you, Teague, breaking news today, Rayshawn will not be back with the Cold Lake Jets. Obviously, this is a quarterback driven league, and Rayshawn was a big part of what you guys do. Now, of course, you had the best defense in the country. That can't be understated. But obviously, losing Rayshawn is not what you guys would want as a team. It is what we want for him as an individual. He deserves this opportunity, I think, more than most. And I know I'm personally really happy for him and happy to see him succeed. I know you guys are as well. But just talk about what your plans are moving forward. Do you have a guy in mind? Are you actively looking? How does a team respond to something like this as far as trying to win another national?
Well, I think if we look back on our defense last year, I think we scored every game on defense. And I think people usually just say, the offense needs to score one touchdown and we win. So if the defense scores one touchdown and we don't let nobody score. No. We have a few guys we've been talking to. I have a few younger guys who are coming out, and earlier than later, time to develop them and work them perfectly into our system. So I would say with everybody we have surrounding, you could say the quarterback in a quarterback-driven league, the right person, this offense is going to be potentially unstoppable. But if it's the wrong person, we're still going to do good. Put it like that.
And a question I have to add to that, then would you guys prefer someone who is, say, you can groom them the way you guys would like to have your offense ran, and maybe they're a little on the fresh side, or you just groom them the way, or someone who comes in who brings more experience, maybe likes things a certain way? What would be a better fit for the offense, you think?
Honestly, I'd say both. And in this league, you get such a mixture of young guys, old guys. Sometimes you don't even know if that guy's going to be there next year. So in my plan would be to get a younger guy in as well, who could be 18, 19, 20, and just needs to some time to grow and learn about the game and get more experience, as well as having somebody who, it doesn't have to be a superstar or anything like that, but somebody who is just driven enough and is a great learner and listens. That's, it's a quarterback. The good leader can understand what we want to do and run it the way we want.
Yeah, because I'd imagine that quarterback's going to be, who comes in, he's going to have quite the learning curve, and I can imagine Skelly and like 101s being quite difficult for him to just adjust to, where he's got you guys have a great secondary to go against, and he'd learn a lot from that alone.
For sure, I would agree. Sometimes some of the best competition our offense got sometimes was in practice. So I think having a younger guy in there too, all the time, you could say, working through practice and whatnot, could probably surprise a lot of people and work his way into the starting spot by the end of the season.
And as much as we're going to miss Ray, it's nothing new to us. We'll be going into our fourth year with our fourth different starting quarterback, right? It's like you say, it's a quarterback-driven league. Whoever does come in and is going to be under center for us is, hopefully we're going to find somebody with some experience. And then we just, as we always have on the offensive side of the ball, we will work with that guy's strengths. We're willing to switch up, the offenses and some of our systems and stuff to work with that guy so he's comfortable, and then you go from there.
That's really great. I think you guys will be just fine. I know it is a loss on it, but I think that you guys have a good foundation. I guess I'll put this question up to anyone who wants to answer it. But what are you guys looking like? Are you bringing back Jade? Like, what are you looking back like in the running back spot?
I believe Jade is not coming back this year, but strangely enough, from what I can tell, we're bringing back 90% or better of the roster, which has been, something a guy's not used to, really, to have so many guys returning. So it's going to be nice to be able to add talent without having a drop off of talent and turnover.
Not to mention that Kelton's back too, and it wasn't just Jade last year. We had a dual-headed monster with Kelton back there too.
I agree. I was about to jump in and say the same thing. Kelton did a lot more than his numbers showed. That's absolutely for sure. And then we also added an old guy back that was here for our first year. Leo is back again with us this year.
Mantula.
Yes,
yeah.
Sir. Yeah. MVP from 2019 season. So that's definitely going to help.
Yeah, that's really good. I didn't know that Leo is a stud. I played against him when we went up there in 2019. Glenn, that game, that is a great story. So Bucks went up there in 2019, and Glenn, I'm sure you remember, that was the game where it rained and thunderstormed for like I felt like 4 hours before that game. And we couldn't play it. Like we weren't sure if we were going to be able to even play this game. And we were like, the Bucks were out there, but I think even some Jets guys joined it. We were like playing soccer in the thunderstorm, and like it was actually one of the funnest nights ever. But then he went and put like 300 yards on us in that game. So
we ended up winning that game, and I think we had 2 pass completions.
No, it was literally 1 or 2 pass completions.
Wasn't that game the one where it was like 5? Like everybody it was like 8 picks and 8 picks. Like you guys threw 8 picks. We
had
picks.
Jake Hodges come in. He's come in and out over the years back from the Vandals days, and a great talent and an amazing quarterback. But it just it never seemed to ever work out. But we had Jake come out for a few games that season, and for some reason the night before he just looked like an MVP. And then when the game rolls around, first play was a pick, and next thing you know, 6 picks into the game. I think he got a bit of a sprained ankle and he ended up coming out. And the incumbent Mike Holman come in and just kept feeding the rock to Leo. And yeah, like you say, 300 yards later, and we ended up winning the game. I don't know how, but
yeah. Well, I'll be honest with you. The Bucks offense of 2019 was not very good, and then we had the reason we had put in a new defense that game specifically to stop Leo, and it was a cover zero, all out blitz. We were blitzing 6 or 7 every play, and it was funny because it had the opposite effect. It actually allowed Leo to have way more space once he cleared the line, and it ate up your passing game because Jake could not handle the pressure. Yeah. And so it was kind of the opposite. We put it in to stop the running game, but what it did was it actually allowed more gaps because once he found the first hole, he was fucking gone, and that wasn't very fun.
It was smart. It was smart by you guys, right? Because I think the previous game he had lit up the Fort Mac team for 50 some points and just had an amazing game. But, he wasn't something he was able to carry over. But you guys, scouted, watched the film, and came in with the plan to stop that. And then it fell apart on our end, and we ended up lucking out because of it.
Yeah. Well, that's good to hear that you're going to have about 90% of your team back. I think, like I was saying earlier, I mean, this year is just going to be so fun with the amount of competition and how I think close the league's going to be parity wise, and it could be 4 to 5 deep. It'll probably be 4 to 5 deep. So, Cole, coming back to you, I want to ask you about, you were mentioning your first year experience, first year player coming to Cold Lake, falling in love with it. If you're selling the team to prospective, players trying to come to your team, what are you telling them? What are you telling them you love about the team and about Cold Lake?
Just come spend 1 weekend in Cold Lake. That's all it'll take. The nice weather, the beaches, that's all it'll take. And there's always something going on every weekend. Yeah, just every weekend there's something going on. There's events every weekend. Whether it's at the beaches or at the rink and the convention centers, always something going on.
Can I ask you this, Cole? I just got into golf. How are the golf courses around Cold Lake?
I think there's 3, and
you don't golf? Do you golf?
I do golf. I didn't get a chance to go out last year. Okay. I was working a little much. Okay. But
I know Bonneville's got a good one. I know Bonneville's got a good one. Yeah.
Yeah, and there's one on the base there in Cold Lake as well, which is nice. The city seems to recognize that the Jets are entertainment. Every game, we seem to have more and more fans come out this year, which was great. Report from like the mayor and the Air Force or the military there. We were going to get a flyover and stuff like that for the national final, but it fell through because the Queen passed away. So that was just kind of inconvenient timing. So stuff like that, right? So it's beyond football in that little town.
Yeah, and I think I can attest to that. I went up there twice last year. I actually started the season there with Edmonton. Didn't enjoy it. Ended up with the Wolfpack, but I ended up playing up there 2 times, and it was packed, and it was a really cool atmosphere. And that's the beautiful thing about small towns, and you have a beautiful lake up there too. Like it is a really nice place. Like I quite enjoyed it, and I think with what you guys are doing as a team, as a community, what you're doing as players, promoting it, I think it makes people want to go there. And I think that's really good for the league to have those small towns, because then you can do a lot in your community, which we'll touch on a little bit later.
Can I ask you?
Go ahead.
For the team, and what I definitely noticed with Cold Lake is I noticed this just from the 2 times we played this year. I one home when you guys were in Calgary, and when we went up for the playoffs, was I really noticed how as a team you guys had a high standard of accountability with each other, and that was something where I noticed just with how the DBs, how you guys communicated when like in between the huddles and on the sideline. I could tell as a team you guys really held each other to a high level, and that really cultivated itself. So do you guys have any comments on what you guys do to help keep that high or help introduce people to that? Because obviously there has to be a level of communication of at least a level of communication between each other to understand that.
I think a big part of that is Teague and Ray. Teague was the captain on defense. He ran the defense, and Ray ran the offense. And Teague always stresses communication, offensive side, defensive side, special teams, communication. So if it's starting from the top, it's always going to trickle down.
Exactly.
Okay. Gabriel, I got a question for you. You had made a Facebook comment at some point or another, kind of pointing to something that I was curious about. And so I want to ask you about it because I said I would. And I think this is something that people want to know. So plus it sends a little spice. So you had mentioned something about Edmonton running from you guys. So touch on that. Tell us what that means and go into great detail.
Why would he ask me to do this of all course, right?
Now the bullets are fired.
Well, I mean, look, just truthfully, in all seriousness, Edmonton was the one team I didn't get to play last year. I had just gotten back from playing with Brazil about maybe 2 weeks prior to that, and was still trying to adjust, get everything packed and ready to come out there. So I did miss that game. And I was actually very much looking forward to playing them. Funny thing is, too, we had heard all the great things, they were doing in the off season and all that good stuff. And I, for one, will tell you, I'm one person who ultimately enjoys a challenge, especially great competition. And if you, as the kids like to say nowadays, if you are about that action, I really enjoy like finding that out. So it seemed that they were ready to prove that they were about that action. Now, my problem is if you are about that action, or as we like to say, you want the smoke, how do you call yourself the number one team or the best team? Are you making all these moves to be the number one team and you going to ask or request a vote to not play us in week 1, as it is rumored to be? Now, I'm not the smartest person in the world. I know I went to school, graduated, all that good stuff. I know I've been around the block a few times and got all those great things. But anybody in my right mind will tell you that's some running that's going on. So with that being said, I just wanted some actual details from them at some point as to why they ran. But you want to continue to call yourselves the number one anything when you're running from what is still the number one team in this league, regardless of how anybody feels. I don't care to ruffle anybody's feathers. Anybody on my team, including on this podcast with me, will tell you that I enjoy and appreciate and embrace all the smoke. I want the smoke. So yes, I said it and I will say it again. Until otherwise proven, until we are beaten, until you give us a reason to think otherwise, we are the number one team in the league. So with that being said, I don't appreciate everybody else glossing over us in that aspect. So that was kind of some shot to me in my opinion. I felt like that was a shot to us. So you're gonna call yourself the number one team in the offseason when you didn't even get that far. So that's cool. But that too, like I said, you can't call yourself the number one team and run from the number one team. That's just kind of silly.
Okay, so that's incredibly amazing and very, very well done. And all the listeners, I'm sure, appreciate that because I know I'm grinning ear to ear listening to you speak, man. So I
appreciated that.
Yeah, you've earned my respect and probably another invite on this podcast because that was amazing. But hold on a second. Let me backtrack a little bit here. So where are you getting to put this in perspective, Edmonton Elite went up to Cold Lake game 1 last season. And you're saying that there might be some truth to a rumor that Edmonton tried to get that game canceled?
No.
Not canceled. Let me go ahead and continue before somebody else chimes in. Not canceled because, of course, they wouldn't cancel. Nobody in their right mind wants to come cancel playing us, especially after everything we did to everybody last year. I'm pretty sure nobody wants to cancel come playing us. Now, they did ask to reschedule playing us when they think they are actually probably ready enough to play us, and that's good for them. If you are as ready as you claim you are and all these social media posts and all these signings that you want to put underneath, just like a lot of teams do, then clearly you should be ready enough to play us in week 1. But you're not. Instead, you're sending us to play the Cowboys when it should be you guys, which is fine. I ain't mad. I ain't hating. That's neither here nor there. That's like I said. You just can't call yourself number one anything if you're running. The only thing you is the number one scaredy cat, for lack of better words.
Okay. So they didn't – essentially they weren't ready – to play you week 1, and so they tried to get that changed because they knew what the talent that you guys were going to have. Okay, so I really appreciate that. That is phenomenal. So great job.
One thing I wanted to add to that. Now I know you guys won the championship. I definitely don't doubt you guys were the number 1 team. That's the one thing where I give credit where it's due. Just the way you guys were communicating, playing, like you guys are definitely number 1 team. When you guys won and everything, there was a shirt that came out, built not bought. Now I know there's a tons of comments. There's this, that, other figureheads in the league, whatever it is. But I want to give you guys a chance to defend that statement, the shirt being made, all that to others in the league, and you guys put your voice behind it.
With pleasure. Because I was the one that started to let that be heard.
Let Cole go, Gabe. Jeez, let Cole go.
No, let him go. He's stirred up. I like it. Go ahead, Gabe.
All right, with pleasure. So look, all year long, we heard all this smoke from everybody. Oh, Cold Lake did this. We paying for this. We paying for that. We paying for this. We paying for that. We bought him. We bought that. I'm going to tell you right now, as somebody who done played around the world and then got paid for this, that, and the other, nobody got paid nothing. So you want to go ahead and talk about, oh, this team was bought, this, that, and the other. No, we wasn't bought, baby. We was built in this motherfucker. Go ahead and hate if you want to. This was naturally built. Naturally.
For me, and Gabe, I appreciate your passion. And I look, I've gotten to know Teague a little bit. I've gotten to know a lot of the Jets guys. I mean, after you guys won your championship, I talked to a lot of you guys, privately, over text or Facebook message or whatever. And you guys are all honestly really good people and good dudes to talk to. And I wish you guys all the best, except when you play the Bucks, obviously. But you guys deserved it, and I'll say that straight up here. You guys deserve to be the number 1 team in the country. You deserve that win. You deserved all the accolades that came with it. I think it's phenomenal for the town of Cold Lake. And quickly, can
I intrude on that one?
Go ahead.
I think Damon should have got Organization of the Year. I believe that went to Airdrie. I would say I strongly disagree with that.
So you know what, that's going to be a topic of discussion in another podcast, the awards of the AFL in general. The AFL All-Stars and awards have been,
I like that. Yeah.
They've been a joke for a long, long time. So we need to fix that system. Absolutely. So we'll definitely be talking about that. I think what I want to move on to now is, if
I can interrupt, Teague, I know you can edit this, but
yeah.
The built not bought, and I apologize, I got fucked up there, but the built not bought thing was a little bit different. The Gators were playing the Monarchs, and it was built versus bought. So, the Gators termed themselves as built, where the Monarchs were bought. The thing they were throwing around for us was built not bought, saying, we didn't buy our team. So it was two kind of little different plays on the same sort of word there that kind of got mixed up. And that's where it come forward with this on the message board there, where they found it ironic that we were using that term, but to us, it wasn't the exact same way term. It was, instead of built versus bought, it was just us, built, not bought. So
yeah, no, and like I said, I first of all, I don't really care. The players that came are, they're sticking around, they're coming back, and that's all I really need to know. And for me, like I always wanted Cold Lake in the league. I'll talk about the Cold Lake story in a while, but I am actually the reason Cold Lake even exists today. But that'll be a story for another day. But that is a true story. I'm the only one on the AFL board that actually fought for Cold Lake to come back. So I'm very glad to see you guys doing well. I'm glad to see you guys succeeding, and I'm really looking forward to July 15th when the Bucks come up there. Now, moving forward, I want to talk. And I don't want to say this, guys, to take anything away from what you guys did last year, because I think the team you had last year is competitive and has a chance to win a championship in any other year in the AFL. I mean, that was one of, and I don't like to compare years, but it was one of the best teams that the AFL has ever seen. No doubt, absolutely. But the reality is the league last year, and I've been in it a long time, was fairly weak compared to other times. I mean, when you've got the next best team being an Airdrie team that's kind of up on the run and really wasn't that great, beat them 50-0 in the finals. You've got the next team being an elite team that was really not great. Like the elite of last year were a skeleton of the elite of 2021. No really receiving core to speak of, no quarterback play. And then you had a pack team that was injured and kind of didn't have guys coming to practice and tough. So overall, and then you hosted the national, and that was obviously a really good win for you. In fact, the most impressive win of the year was that national game because you guys weren't really challenged that much. So my question to you guys this year, and I'll start with you, Teej. I'd like you to start with this, and then everyone can kind of fill in. But how do you keep your guys from being too confident? How do you motivate them to keep coming back? Because I think that's a really good reason, a really good way of like, hey, look, winning a national at home in a weak year is one thing, but this is going to be one of the best years we've seen in a long time. The Bucks are back. You know, the Jets are there. The Irish are getting better. They're better than they were last year, right? So how do you keep those guys motivated? How do you keep them from not getting too egotistical and looking forward to that national championship down east?
I guess I start with, what's your end goal? Is your end goal to win the championship in the AFL? Then sweet. Let's do whatever you think you need to do that. But if your end goal is to be paid to play this game somewhere else, there shouldn't be much more motivation than that. Come here, work hard. When we win, you get noticed. When you get noticed, you got good film. So I felt that my first year, the competition was really, really good that year. And obviously COVID happened. And then 2021, it seemed like everybody like revamped almost. But it was also because there was no league in Ontario. So I guess you could say how Cold Lake took it was, well, if everybody's going to be this good, we need to make sure we can compete next year. So then that's what we did. We just revamped, make sure we got guys we thought were going to help us, guys who we thought were going to be good for our team, who are good people, who are good leaders and good in the community. And then the next thing you know, we just smashing people by 50.
Yeah.
And you can't say how important it was winning that week one matchup versus the elite, right? Like you've seen the year before, there's guys that will sit on the fence, you know, certain well-respected players will sit there and wait and see how week one turns out and then make their choice where they want to play, right? So we lose that game to the elite last year to start the season. We might not have Gabe. We might not have Eli, Jade. You know, there's some ballers that we picked up week 2, week 3. So Tariq, a chance, right? He's a beast. So it's you want to start strong. You gotta practice hard in the preseason and make sure your camps are worthwhile and be ready for week one. You can't say how big that is.
To feed off how you guys' practices are, can you comment on the intensity of your guys' practices? Or is it like, you know, are guys coming to hit to make an impact, or what's kind of the intensity going into a Cold Lake Jets?
Guys
practice?
show up to get better. Guys show up to get better. I think that's just kind of to snowball on Teej, what Teej said. You don't get better playing once a week in a game where you get 15 snaps. You get better at practice where you get 15 snaps in 10 minutes. You know, the guys that showed up to practice showed up and got better every day. They tried to improve themselves, which improves the team.
The deeper the roster gets, then the intensity picks up a little bit, right? You got 6 or 7 receivers that think they should be starting on game day. Their only way to make sure they're starting is to put out in practice. And you got guys coming from Lloyd and, you know, the guys in town, and it brings up that intensity, I think.
Love to hear that. And, you know, it's with me being a part of the Wolfpack, I know that last year that was something that we struggled with guys having attendance and everything, this and that, and putting together a team. And I think I've always come from a football culture where you show up, you compete, you get better, and, you know, from those results, it drives progress and, you know, the results that you want.
Yeah, success breeds more success.
Glenn,
For sure.
Glenn, I want to ask you, because you've been in the league for so long and you continue to do it at, how old are you, Glenn? 50? You gotta be, what, 51 or something like that?
Just turned 54.
54, my fuck. Okay. So you're still playing football. You're still part of it. Obviously, you're still incredibly passionate about the league, about football, about the AFL, about the Jets. And I mean, it makes me happy to see it. We've known each other for a really long time, and I've appreciated you as a person and through all the ups and downs of the AFL. And you're continuously coming back, and I enjoy the games where we get to see each other and speak and maybe smoke a joint after the games. Did I just say that? Am I allowed to say that on pod? Whatever. It's legal nowadays. Yeah.
Your podcast, brother.
Yeah. So I enjoy that with you, man. I really do. And we got to this year. Let's try to go golfing before our game. But we tried to do that last year. But just talk to me a little bit. What does the AFL mean to you? Like, why are you still here? Like, how has it really impacted your life?
Chocolate chip cookies, I think. Some of you may have heard the third podcast there, and
yeah,
and that just comes to me. No.
Damn, that's so good. Yeah.
I don't know. I knew this question was coming for 3 days. I couldn't think of the right answer. Right there, it just come to me. But no, I don't know what it's meant a lot to me. This league, like it's crazy. For one thing, I would be probably a pretty fat, useless person if it wasn't for the AFL. It's one thing that's kept me from getting old, I feel. When I do decide to retire, I'm going to get old in a hurry. I know that. So I'm putting that off. But aside from that, what the AFL is giving me is friendships. Like you sit back and think about in 20 years, how many teammates a guy's had, right? Like I probably got 50 real close friends, 500 friends and thousands of acquaintances just because of this game, right? And it all started at 35 years of age. So I don't even know what to say. I can't begin to give back to the AFL for what it's given me, for the enjoyment that I've had for 20 years.
Glenn, that was fucking beautiful, man. That was beautiful. Honestly, that was awesome. I appreciate you, man. I appreciate you saying that, and I hope people understand when they see you on the field, how much the league means to you and how kind of cool your story is now that they've heard that from you. And I kind of want that, one of the main reasons I want to get this podcast out is so people can learn about other players and who they're playing against and who they're playing with. I think that's really cool. I know even I just enjoy listening to people speak. So thank you for that. I'll kind of open the floor here. We've got a couple minutes left. Anyone have anything to say or want to talk on moving forward?
Any call-outs?
Any call-outs? Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I mean, what we mean by call-outs? Like, we calling out teams, or we calling out like people? Like, what you mean by that?
Whatever you want, man. I'm opening the floor.
Well, shit, I'm calling out everybody. Like, the road to the AFL championship comes through Cold Lake. You want to get to the national championship, it comes through Cold Lake. I don't give a damn. I said what I said.
Hey, I can't argue. I don't know.
That's why we love Gabe.
Yeah, I love Gabe, man. I love, man. You've been great. I don't even know Gabe, and I love Gabe.
All right, that sounds good. I love you too, man.
Okay, good, man. Oh, okay, this is good. All right, boys. Omari, you got anything?
No, I got all my questions answered. It was great to give everyone here a voice, and nice to hear from everyone. Like it's always great to hear people outside of the field, because I feel like when we're on the field, we're all competitors, we're all alphas, we're all just trying to get at it. But it's nice just to take a step back, talk, and we want to figure out that hey, we all like our own people at different levels. So it's been great to do that, and I'm just really looking forward to competing against everyone here, especially Cold Lake. It's always great because it's good competition, and we all love to go against the best, and I just look forward to that.
Sweet.
I had somebody I was talking to about the itch. So I have another version of the itch that I maybe liked even more than mine.
Okay. Let us have it.
And basically, the itch is different for a lot of people. A lot of people play football for different reasons. So obviously mine was the happy side. I'm thinking about cooking. But there's also the bad side. The side that football is your escape. Football is your release. This is when you could say, let your demons out, because it's allowed. I can go across that line and smash that guy in the face with my helmet, and my teammate's going to pat me on the back after. All right? You can't do that in real life. You can't just go and tackle that man. So what I would say is that the itch is like the purge. You wait all year for that one day to let it all out. You just get lucky enough to have at least 6 of those. So.
That is deep as shit. Okay.
Oh, yeah.
That is.
Hey, this is how we think over here, bro.
This
I'm
is-
just letting you know. This is why we are the way we are over here in Cold Lake.
Oh,
This is how we think.
Could we? Hey, let's hang out after the game in Cold Lake, okay, boys? Like, I wanna talk some philosophical
Y'all just
stuff.
have to stay the night.
I'm
Just-
staying the night. I don't even
just
care.
drink some water.
Don't leave. No matter what, just don't leave, bro. Please, just don't leave.
I'm not leaving. I want to spend some time with you guys. This is too good. I want to
We
get.
just got to get you a glass of water. Just a glass of water from there, you'll stay.
I don't know what that means, but okay. Oh, fuck.
I'm in that water.
All right, Omari, where can they find us?
Oh boy, hey, I appreciate everyone tuning in. You can find us here on your local podcast platform, Apple Music, Spotify, Google Podcasts. You can also check us on YouTube. For those that like to watch YouTube at work, hey, it's a great way to do work at work if that helps. But give us a comment, subscribe, give us a rate. All those help there. And as well, I think we're going to open up the Discord here to where we can allow more communication there, maybe more smack talk. Hey, we're all here for it. We're all competitors. End of the day, do what you got to do. Hope everyone here is taking care of their bodies in their own ways, and looking forward to the season.
Left, which I'm being yelled at for not mentioning.
Okay.
Next weekend, March 5th at 4:30 at the Energy Center in Cold Lake, we do have our second training session and a meet and greet. And if you'd like to come out and see what we're about, it's open to all.
Perfect. Thank you for pointing that out. So I appreciate that. Awesome.
I forgot to add as well, Teej, as honored as I was to be here and be one of your guests, I feel kind of cheeky that I was here ahead of DL. The legend needs to get on this podcast, and we need to hear what he has to say about the AFL.
Oh, he's coming. He's definitely going to come on. Yeah, as long as he wants to. I'll have to see. But he's
kind of a low key fella.
Yeah, he's low key. I love playing with him. So awesome, guys. Thank you for coming. I appreciate y'all.
Thanks.
Thanks.
Bye.
Take care, guys.
Be easy, brothers. God bless.